think we can start because so we can end in the right time. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's good. So I'm gonna introduce myself first, but I need to share my screen. Okay, can you see my screen? It says,
Yes.
okay, you can. Okay, that's great. I supposed to be teach English creative writing, as the board can see. So I put a slideshow like as a magic book because I believe creative writing, it is magical because different people create different pieces, which make it special. So first I would introduce myself. So I am Milly Chen. So I'm actually an international student. So if you would be surprised, why would I be here to teach English creative writing? I would say because I really love writing and English was my favorite subject when I was in elementary school. So how old are you?
I'm 12.
Oh, you're 12. Okay, so you're in elementary school, right?
Middle school, 6th grade.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. So like, oh, I remember the US educational system. So in China, actually 6th grade is a part of elementary school, which is interesting. Yeah, okay, that's very cool to know. So we're gonna move on. And so for the first class, I want to start with what is the difference between academic writing and creative writing? Because I don't want you to feel stressed out that I'm gonna ask you to write a research paper or like anything really academic or like ask you to read a lot of hard papers, which is not what I would have for this class. So at your school, do you think your English class is fun, it's hard, or like, how do you like it?
We do some fun activities, but we do have to write a lot of essays.
So what type of essay do you usually write?
We usually write them based on like what we're learning in class. Sometimes we watch documentaries and we have to like write about them.
That's cool. So, do you like the type of essay you write in class, or you would prefer to write more about like free write or anything like this?
I don't really care that much. I think I prefer free writing a little more, but yeah.
Okay, that would be great because I do like free writing. Like I would say, like since I'm a high school student, so when you move on, like it's just gonna be more rigorous writing, like research or like investigative, or even like you write essay in like physics class, chemistry class, like it's like a lab report. So, however, creative writing is pretty different from that. And to start with technical writing, so a technical writer's primary task is to communicate technical information to another person in the clearest and the most effective manner possible. Yes. So I would say like, so for technical writing, there are just more rules for you to follow because like you have to remember some like tags in your head. So which is something I find it like hard or like not that delightful to write about. So for creative writing, it's different. So creative writing is more like a mobile or like a kinetic sculpture, which means they do not remain like static, which means it's not like always the same. So you get to be different. Um, like the mobile, like the set in motion by like the air currents, which is the idea, which means idea. Yeah, and I think so for creative writing, the good thing is you truly get to write about like what you think and put your idea down. So I have a question. Do you write any journal or do you do any free write after school?
No.
No. Then do you like to record like good memories or like, because I'm gonna move on to Memoir, which is a kind of writing.
Not really.
You don't? Um, no, that's actually fine. But wait, but actually, what's your favorite class?
Math.
Really? Okay, then what made you want to take the English writing class? Is that you want to improve your writing or like you want
Yeah,
to?
I love to read a lot as well, and I want to improve my writing.
Oh, okay, okay, that sounds good. Yes. Okay, so I would say after introduce like blah 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 like those, yeah, like I would say the boring information, then I would tell you that so to improve the writing, so for this course, like after like I would say after a certain period of time, I would assign you probably like, or actually you can just write like a short piece, something to send to my email, which I would put at the end. So you would know like, I mean, I can add it and then like tell you which to improve. But I would say it's actually interesting you said math because I was horrible at math, but now I grow to like it, which is good. Okay, so what is memory? Which is like just ask you like, oh, record memory, something. So for memory, so for the big concept, I put like a YouTube video here because I think that person, not the person in the video, but I believe this can explain better than me. So wait, how? Well, okay, that's actually not good because the class is not ended yet. But hold on, I think I'm gonna uh, stop share, and then I'm gonna set up the video. So.
Are you struggling in your calculus class? Do you have a hard time understanding your instructor? Do you wish there was...
Okay, now I can share my screen. Why I have so many technical difficulties? Having a hard time. Okay.
What's a memoir? Alashma. How would the story of your life read? Would anyone other than your mother want to read it? And if your mother did read it, well, we're sorry you went so soon. A memoir is a book of memories. But what makes it different from a diary? Why does it get its very own word? Well, mostly because it's exhausting to pen one. Memoirs are works of literary nonfiction. They have to be about the writer's real experiences, but sound and feel like literature. In a memoir, the writer gets to be the main character. Talk about your ego trip. Yep, the memoirist has free reign to dwell on his or her thoughts, feelings, and reflections.
Who is that handsome devil?
It's the writer's party, and he'll cry if he wants to. And then he'll describe his crying in vivid, painful detail. Memoirs are subjective, so memoir writers even get to play fast and loose with minor facts. In a memoir, the writer's version of the truth always wins. So memoirists are usually better looking on the page than in real life.
This is my good side.
The writer has to choose a theme or purpose and decide which memories to include and which details to invent. And the pacing needs to be just right so readers can relive the moments with the characters. Memoirists have to stir enough background information into the story for readers to understand the context and the events, but they also have to leave out a lot of information, which means resisting the urge to describe every Thanksgiving dinner grandma ever made, no matter how awesome the stuffing was.
Help.
Readers should be able to imagine the setting, the action, and the relationships between characters. Oh, and by the way, when characters talk to each other in memoirs, they don't speak formally.
Ain't that the truth?
The dialogue is written the way real people would actually talk. So put down the red pen and stop worrying so much about all the improper grammar.
Give me them there red pen.
Once all is said and done, the memoirist gets to decide how to leave the readers, which could even mean abandoning them to show that life isn't fair. Harsh, yeah, but in a well-written memoir, readers should learn something about life with a capital L, not just about the writer's brief stay on planet Earth. So what's a memoir? A memoir is blood, sweat, tears, and ink. You provide the blood, sweat, and tears. Ink sold separately.
Okay, so I think that's good for now. So I think I'm gonna quickly talk about what was in the video is. So to briefly summarize, so Memoir is like a book of memories, just like I mentioned. So like you want to probably record your good memories or like something not good. I would say, yeah, like it depends on you when you write the memoir. And also, so it's a works of like nonfiction, which means it's really happening, like about you. So you just said, so Emma, you just said you like to read a lot. So do you like to read fictions or nonfictions, or like what kind of book you like to read?
I think both are really good, but I find myself reading more fiction books often.
Oh, fiction book more often.
Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, but because I would say it's the same with me because I just think, I mean, it's important to know like historical stuff or anything, but I just found it like a little bit boring to read overall. Okay, so move on. So I think what makes Memoir interesting to read because it's like real experiences. However, since you just tell me like fiction would be more good to read, so the good thing about memoir is even though it's reality, like even though it's talking about the truth, but it feels like literature because you write it in like the narrative way with like with different character. So to write a memoir, the writer would choose the theme or purpose. Actually, I think it might be easier for me to share this so you can see what I'm talking about. So the writer chooses theme or purpose to write about, and the reader should be able to imagine like the setting, action. So it's important for you to describe like the certain things. So so the readers would know like what happening. So yeah, and move back to the slides. So since we just watched the video, so I would keep on to talk about more about like what is the difference between memoir, autobiography, and biography. So I think those are three things that might be a little easier to get confused. So for biography, it is the account of a person's life, and it's written in the third person. It's objective and it presents information collected from the subject. So it's written to inform and establish a context, and also it has a restricted access to subject thoughts and feelings. So I have a question is, have you ever read any biography, or you think you have never?
I don't think I've ever written. I mean, I don't think I've ever like written one, but I've read one before.
You don't think you have read one before? Okay, so I would say, yeah, I mean, biography is probably, I would say, really depends on, like, yeah, I would say depends on situation. Oh, hold on, someone is joining. Wait, let me stop sharing. And hi, so since you just joined, so I would quickly introduce myself. So I mean, I already introduced to Emma, so this is like a second time. So my name is Milly, and I'm a high school student who is gonna teach English creative writing. I'm 17 years old. 17? Yeah, 17 years old. So I would say there's a lot for me to learn too. So I'm basically teaching and learning. Yeah. So what's your, oh, you just changed your name. Okay, Sophie. So how old are you?
I'm 10.
Oh, you're 10. Okay. Okay, so are you fourth grade or elementary school, is that right?
I'm 5th grade.
That's great. Oh, okay. Well, I could just, okay, I can never guess it right. Never mind. Trying hard. Okay, so what I would say is, because I already started the class earlier, so however, I already recorded it, so there will be Zoom posted on like the Google Classroom, like where you registered, yeah, yeah. So like you will get to see the whole recording because yeah, I think that would be easier. So I'm gonna continue to share my screen. So for this class, I was about to talk about like the Memoir, which is like the biography, autobiography. So I just made like a comparison chart to talk about them because those are three things that people might be easy to mix together just because they're so similar. Like based on the chart, you could get to see. So autobiography is account of one's own life and it's written in the first person. So it's subjective. That's, I think, so the main difference between autobiography, memoir from biography is one of two of them is written in the first person while the other is the third person. So it's subjective and objective. And so for autobiography, it's written to inform and explain the motivation and thoughts behind actions and decisions, just because you're the person who know you know yourself the most. So that's why like I think you would got to explain it clearly, like your thoughts like clearly when you write your own autobiography. And it often has access to personal thoughts and feelings. And you can see for autobiography, it's usually written later in life, just because it's like I would say it's like a whole recording of like a person's life, or it's like a general overview of a person's life. That's why you would write it later in life instead of like, so for memoir, it can be written at any time just because it's basically just like you can do it like anytime. So for memory, like you can see it's like a personal account of a specific time or experience. So it's written in first person and it's also present facts. Because important things to know is actually memory is always about like something happened in life. So it's not like fiction, instead it's non-fiction, which means when you write it, you don't get to like fabric anything or like putting anything magical. You're just gonna talk about what's actually happened. And for memory, it's also the purpose is to written to reflect or explore the emotion of an experience. So actually, I have a question if I just talk a lot for both of you. Okay, what about I will ask Sophie first. So do you think there's any specific experience in your life you would like to talk about or like write about? If like now there's a prompt, like write about something like it really has influenced or like impressed you.
I can't really think of anything.
Like right now, okay, no problem. I can ask Emma and then you get more time to. What about Emma? Do you have any idea or?
I'm not sure, but I think maybe like the first day of middle school.
Okay, so I would say, so for a memory, like even if I feel like people usually choose like positive things, but I would just like to say it's totally okay if anyone wants to write about like anything probably more like I would say probably not that happy all the time just because life is like hard. Yeah, I mean it is difficult, but you get to see like the good things when you like experience like happy stuff. So I just want to say for me, I feel like memory or like the memory doesn't always have to be good. So if you want to choose anything to write about like after the class, there's no pressure. Okay, so now I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen because I think there's a little bit more time for me to talk about editorial writing. So I don't think any of you will hear about editorial writing because unless you're school teachers. So I wonder, have any of you heard about editorial writing? Then probably no. I would say because it's silence, then I don't think you actually have. So then I would say I would quickly talk about like the editorial. So editorial writing, what is editorial writing? So editorial writing is like a article in the newspaper. So do you like to read, Sophie, Emma, do you like to read newspaper or like news from website or like anything like that?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. So is there like a newspaper place you choose from to read, like New York Times, or what is the place you usually read from?
Apple News.
Okay, what about Anna?
I usually read from like online websites. I think New York Times.
Okay, yes, New York Times. That's something I'm most familiar with. Okay, so for the editorial, like New York Times, what type of article you like to read?
Just like whatever on top. I don't really choose from a genre.
Okay, yeah, actually that's me, because for editorial I would say like that's it. Yeah. Okay, so I would say like for today's class, because I think I still have to find like a little bit more for editorial, like to talk about why is it important. So I would save it for next class. And the other issue is I haven't posted my Zoom link like in public. So that's why I think I created like little confusion, which I'm sorry about this. So I think we'll be good for today. And actually, do you want me to type down my email? I mean, if any of you use email address, or like you could send me email at this. Yeah, so that's my email address. And I think it's good for today. And I will see you next week.